Need to know, am I a good friend or an awful one? This is going to be an out-of-order mess. I already know it. I'm sorry. Couple of important events that are crucial to the backstory. My sister H. When I was 18, she messaged me on Facebook stating we had the same father. I didn't even believe it until she confirmed so many details, even giving me information I didn't know. She was in my life 11 years before she was led by her boyfriend. Her family never told me. I found out 2 months later when I saw someone post on Facebook. She had just started a new job. I didn't want to bother her. She didn't text me on my birthday, so I was a little sassy. We had last spoken 2 days before her death when I sent her money for gas and cigarettes. I had messaged her. She never got back to me. And when she was dead, I was so concerned with myself and her missing my birthday, I didn't even recognize how long it had been since we last talked. My miscarriage. I was dating Jay when I got pregnant with triplets. I unfortunately had a silent miscarriage at 23 weeks, and since I've been told I will never carry to full term. While I was pregnant, my fiancé, at the time, was cheating on me with a 16-year-old he had known since she was 11 and he was 17. After the miscarriage, I blamed him for making me so stressed out and losing our babies. We never recovered. How I grew up. My dad was a single dad, raised me alone, and moved up every year. He was in the military, so it was constantly new places, new things, new friends. I was growing up in the era of phones being on kitchen walls and texts costing 30 cents. We could not just FaceTime how we can now. When I was in high school, freshman, I met N. She was a friend of my boyfriend's. We didn't hang out much. I moved my sophomore year and didn't see her until I moved out on my own at 17. She has BPD, so sometimes she could hate me for something I never knew I did and she blocked me. And then months/years later she would come back and act like nothing happened, so I acted like nothing happened. I'm a complete pushover, which is why when me and my boyfriend were supposed to move in with her, and I gave her close to $1,000 and she essentially ghosted me when I got to the address, realized it was an apartment and didn't know where she lived. I forgave her when she popped back up. I was desperate for friends, and she was the longest-running friend I've ever had. She asked me after her MOH canceled to replace her. I didn't even know she was getting married, and I jumped at it. And I did a great job. And we were good last year. After H passed, I invited all my friends to a celebration of life. She was all excited to come, and canceled week of letting me know she didn't have gas money. One of our mutual friends offered to drive her, but she came up with a different excuse, and I said don't push it. A big piece of our friendship fractured that day. In November, I had asked her for a favor. While she was on the way to help me, she ghosted me. We did not speak until a month or so ago, when we hashed out a lot of issues and wanted to move forward. In the time we weren't talking, I had picked out bridesmaids for my wedding, and I wanted to ask her to be a part of it. We were chatting semi-frequently, and now nothing. She's posting on Facebook every hour, but she is actively not replying to me. I don't know what I did, and why do I even care? I could go on to write every bad incident we've had, but I still want to hold on to her so bad because she has been in my life the longest. Z. I met her one of my earlier jobs and we clicked so much so quickly. I became the godmother to her children, and I was constantly trying my hardest to be a great friend. After my miscarriage, it was really hard. She had 2 kids and her boyfriend had 1. So 3 kids was just so hard to get my brain around. We fell out for a long time. But I would invite her to things, not always kid-friendly, sometimes with kids. It was 50-50 what she would attend. When I got engaged, I messaged her and let her know I really wanted her to be a bridesmaid. We hung out once after this, and then the tragedy with H happened. I invited her to it and let her know it was a no-kids event because I could barely keep myself together and I knew I'd have a panic attack if her kids joined. She canceled day of, stating one of her kids had a competition she forgot about. I didn't really believe her, but I think deep down I knew it was because I didn't want kids there. I vowed to myself anyone who couldn't be there for me through this, I was going to take a second to evaluate the friendship. And this is what I did with C. She never messaged or tried to talk to me. But she had kids, and I knew her kids should take priority. But I barely wanted kids at the wedding. And how was I going to ask her to be a bridesmaid when it was going to cost so much money that should be going to her kids? And events on weeknights she would have to get a babysitter, and that's just not fair for anyone. So I didn't ask her. And I should have. But since we had spent so much time apart I didn't, and I should have explained. And now I'm kicking myself because when I invited her to the wedding I let her know that at the moment her invitation was only for her. We had a strict amount of people and too much family between us. And as soon as someone canceled I could add in her kids. She seemed fine with it. Over the weekend I had a family cancel, so I went to message her. She never replied till today, essentially stating that I never included her or her kids, and as a single mom, she didn't have time for anyone that didn't respect her as such. I missed back apologizing and saying I wish she would have talked to me about this because I literally was trying to move mountains to get the whole family in. We were just last week talking about dresses she could wear. How did we get here? We went back and forth for a few texts before she ended one with good luck with your future endeavors. How the F did someone I grieved my children with, who held me when I cried, who I helped get out of an abusive relationship, just say to me good luck with your future endeavors? I feel like I should just be torn apart for this one. It's my fault, and I was awful, and I'm sure Reddit will deem me as such. But what if anything do I even do? It's not like this street has gone two ways. Any birthday or event or party I have ever been invited to I came to. I really did try. And I'm just heartbroken it's over. K has been my rock for so long. But recently I have started realizing how she keeps putting herself in such a bad finical stress over her boyfriend. They live with his mom, and his mom makes her pay rent but not him. And he enjoys eating out a lot, and they always pay separately. She is going with him to the Super Bowl, and is so stressed over the money for that weekend. And while she was saying things she was saving up for I noticed she never said my wedding. She's my MOH, but now that I have absorbed her costs I was already behind before now I really feel like I'm drowning. I said to her the other night about how I was debating cutting a vendor, transportation, so instead of a party bus we would go in a van. She was not about it. Told me as such. And as we were talking about it, essentially said, well, if that's your choice, I'll just drive myself with so much sass. And I wanted to say back, ma'am, you're not paying for anything, why can't you just enjoy whatever transportation we get? But I didn't say that, and I just sat there and said, oh no, I don't want that. She is someone I love, and I feel like her decisions with her boyfriend put her in this horrible money trouble, and I offered for her to move in so she could save the money, but she doesn't want to leave him. But how do I continue swallowing this when it feels like she constantly choosing him feels like she is pushing me away?